There is an evil tree in the garden, and I have to destroy it. Hello, dear homesteaders. We have a lot of apple trees on our property. First we thought we only had one, and then as I was clearing the forest, I found many other apples. But they were abandoned, neglected. They had apples, but they were small, sometimes not very sweet. They are not crab apples, but due to insufficient sun and nutrients stolen by other wild trees, those apples, they didn't produce the best fruit, which is okay. But unfortunately, most of those apples, they have worms. What they have is apple maggots. Apple maggots look like this. Apple maggots are native to the Northeast. Now they are also found in Washington State and Oregon and probably in BC, but they originally come from the Northeast. And the primary host of the apple maggot is hawthorn. Now they live also on apple and crabapple trees. They can jump over to other trees, but hawthorn is that evil tree that always positions itself next to actual apple trees, and that's where those maggots live. The apple maggot is a small fly that spends their winter in the ground, and then in mid-June they emerge from the ground, they fly up and they drill little holes in young fruit and they lay eggs, and thus they infest them. How do we get rid of them? One way is to spray them with an organic substance called Surround. That's number one. Unfortunately, in New Brunswick, you need a certification to use Surround WP. They say you need to know how to use Surround WP because you could destroy other forms of life, other beneficial insects or some other plants, so you need to know how to use it. So check with your local bylaws about that. Another way to fight against apple maggots is to hang decoy fruits, little plastic balls with tanglefoot, and then the apple maggots will mistake those balls for actual apples and they will get stuck and will die. Now the plastic balls didn't really work for me. I tried that, maybe because they were not red but they were yellow. But then again, our actual apples are yellow, so I don't see how the flies would not be fooled into attacking the plastic balls. But it looked like very few of them got stuck, very few of them got killed. In my research, this boils down to the hawthorn. The maggots do come originally from hawthorn trees, and the hawthorn tree is the primary host for the apple maggots. And strangely enough, when you have apple maggots and you walk around the apple trees, you will always find a hawthorn within a few steps next to your apple trees, as if those hawthorns, they plant themselves next to apple trees and then they attack the fruit trees. Hawthorn is really an evil tree. It has thorns of biblical size that can really hurt you. Wild animals such as deer and moose are often hurt by those thorns because they seem to contain some kind of mild poison in them. So when that prick goes under animal skin, they actually stay there and they hurt more than they need, and they can cause an infection. Our car, one of the tires in our car got punctured on a hawthorn branch, and we had to buy a new tire. The way these thorns, they stick out, there's always one facing up, and it went into the side of our tire. But the number one thing is that they host the apple maggot. And not just the apple maggot. Other annoying flies also seem to like hawthorns. Last winter, as I was removing a hawthorn tree and the tree got shaken by being cut, flies flew out of that tree. Other trees were free of insects. It was late in the season, but hawthorn seems to be a home, a safe haven for many different annoying pests, not just apple maggots. I've been removing hawthorn trees from our property for 2 years now, and I have amassed a pile of them. And that's the first step you have to do. It is to search and destroy any hawthorn on your property. The number 2 step I'm going to do is to cover the ground around the apple trees with tarp. That should prevent the apple maggots from rising up, flying up to the apples and infesting them. But I trust that the most important step is removing the hawthorn. That's the step to nice, clean apples in your orchard. This is how the hawthorn hides. I cut a lot of stuff here, and there's still one sticking out. See if you can find it. Our first apple, there was only one, Nova Mac. We're gonna cut out 1/10 of the apple and give it to the Lord.